Hey everyone, this is Travis Likens from the UVD Weekly Wrap Up, and we're here today with a special episode where we're going to talk to Full Blown Inc.'s Eric Smith to talk about his current Kickstarter, Cronus Magnus. Hi Eric.
Hey Travis.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So, would you mind just kind of giving us a little bit of a brief overview of the project and kind of how we got to where we're at?
Sure. In 2014, I ran a Kickstarter for my first spinal robot, and at the time, it was just going to be like a one-off kind of thing. I didn't really think too much about it, and then after it was successful and all that, and people got it in their hands, they started asking me about, asking me these questions about the backstory and all this stuff, and then people wanted to see more characters, and so I thought, well, I'll make the pilot, and then so I designed this pilot, and I was throwing them out there, and people thought, that's cool, but we really want to see, like another robot, an enemy robot. So I came up with, the design and everything, and started putting that out there on social media and got a pretty good response. So fast forward till now, and we've got the Kickstarter going. We're about 2 weeks in, going pretty strong.
Yeah, I was looking at the Kickstarter a little bit earlier, and it looks like you're about $5,500 in, almost 56, and looks like it's going pretty strong. I mean, you have some really good rewards. I mean, one big thing that caught my eye was actually that you have original artwork from Daryl Banks. Comic book fans will know.
Yeah, and hopefully people will know who Dan Brereton is. He's a big-time comic book illustrator.
Yep.
Well,
and of course, Jeff Lamb was involved as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, toy collectors will know him from many toys they've released, and of course his Greaseback character that will be, seen all over the art worlds in some galleries and whatnot. So a lot of cool stuff just on for add-ons, but there's also the figure itself, which is 10.5 inches tall, correct?
Yeah, it's glow-in-the-dark vinyl, 10.5 inches tall. It's got some interchangeable hands, like a pair of fists, and then a pair of hands holding the sickle weapon, and then a couple of swords that you can put in there.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. And so a lot of people have been kind of asking just kind of about, they saw it on Indiegogo and then they saw it ended. I just wanted to take a second to clarify that it wasn't because the project failed on Indiegogo. It was because you decided to pull it from Indiegogo due to some people's opinions of Indiegogo, correct?
Well, it was actually a big misconception on my part. I don't want to get too into it, I guess, but I had read their rules. I thought I read them thoroughly, got everything together, launched it, and then my misunderstanding was that regardless of whether I met the goal, I would have to pay fees on the money that I raised, even if it didn't meet the goal. So I was like, well, that's kind of shady because I had a fixed campaign.
Yeah, it wasn't like you were going to get the money and then have money to pay it with. You were going to, at the end, not get the money and then still have to pay.
Well, that was my understanding, and then so I kind of freaked out a little bit. I was like, well, it doesn't really, if interest has dropped off any at all, it wouldn't benefit me to promote it if I'm going to just end up, paying fees. So
and
I panicked.
I think everybody would understand that.
Yeah, and I panicked and I pulled the plug, and then after I pulled the plug and kind of let everybody know what the deal was, I got an email from a friend of mine who was like, "Hey, I'm a little confused," and he sent me this link to a page that was like a secondary rules kind of page, and it explained that if you're a fixed campaign and you don't meet the goal, then you don't owe any fees. So I was like, well, that's great. I pulled the plug.
After you found out.
Yeah. So I just kind of kept my mouth shut, let it run its course, because technically you can't cancel an Indiegogo. So I just pulled all the rewards and sent out a message, and then when the deadline, let the deadline come and go. People got their pledges refunded, and then I relaunched everything on Kickstarter.
Yeah, and
hopefully it didn't hurt me. I know some of the people that backed on Indiegogo did not come over on Kickstarter, so
yeah.
hopefully they're just waiting.
They're just holding out, see what happens.
Yeah.
So one of the, not so cool on your side because you had to pay for it, but one of the cool things that came out of this whole thing was you ended up getting a 3D prototype printed that absolutely looks awesome. It came out perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really cool, and I'd like to thank Dave White of Mechanauts for printing that for me. He gave me a really good deal on the print, and it looks amazing. It's a little bit bigger than what the actual product will be. It's like a half-inch bigger, but so I'm also offering that. I'm offering up the prototype as one of the reward tiers, and reluctantly, because I think it's so cool.
Yeah, it looks like it came out really clean. All the detail came through, and looks like somebody probably went over it and sanded it really well because all the build lines are gone. So it just looks smooth.
Yeah, I can't tell if he sanded it or not. You can see some traces of the lines, but I'm not really that familiar with what the pieces look like coming right out of the printer.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I know he did not put put them in an acetone bath, but he may have sanded them down.
Yeah, it looks like it came out great, and it really gives you a really good idea what this finished figure is going to going to look like. So hopefully that will help with folks at Kickstarter, looking at the product and like, this is what you're going to get, not just a drawing.
Right. Yeah. I am biased, but not because it's my project necessarily, but it does look awesome. The freaking cool, and I'm just like, I hope this gets funded because it would just be such a shame to not have these. And they're going to be glow in the dark. And there's another tier that's because I had a lot of people when I did the Valkyra. A lot of people wanted an unpainted blank version, which I was not able to offer. But this time around, I also have a blank unpainted Cronus Magnus tier that people can get. Yeah. It's glow in the dark vinyl as well.
Yeah, and it's going to look perfect if you have the other figure as well. They're going to look great together.
Yeah, Cronus Magnus is a little bit bigger than Valkyra, but he's to scale.
Yeah.
Because when I designed them, I was thinking, well, I'll try to make them the same height. But then when I did, I wanted the fists to be the same size. So I know that might sound a little weird, but so when Cronus Magnus was the same height as Valkyra, his fists were smaller, and I'm like, well, you can't have that.
Yeah.
Like this big bad robot with these tiny little hands. It's just that's not intimidating. So I scaled it up till their fists were the same, and he ended up being a little taller. But it kind of feeds into my story because I'm working on like a whole comic book story for Valkyra, and it sort of makes Valkyra appear to sort of be the underdog, but Valkyra has the advantage of his metal body is made out of Valkyrium, and Cronus Magnus does not have that advantage, so he needs a handicap.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first, people.
That's right.
But I'm really excited about this project. I was behind it early in the Indiegogo days, and I really liked the last figure, so I was really excited to see it continue on.
Yeah.
As far as the basic figure, how much would somebody have to pay?
Well, the tier to get the figure, it's $100. And at that tier, you not only get the figure, but you get 2 stickers, one of which is glow in the dark. You get a 4-pack of buttons. You get an embroidered, like, military-style patch. And let's see what else. So you get a coloring page. And it seems like there might be something else. Oh, a set of blueprints.
Yep.
I think that's it for that tier. Yeah. But this figure, I know a lot of people might be like thinking that's a little high, but this figure is a lot. It's not a lot bigger than Valkyra, but it is bigger than Valkyra. It's more complex than Valkyra, and there's
Has
some
a lot
pieces,
of additional pieces too. Yep.
right, and the fins, like the fins on the arms and the legs, and then the breastplate and the sickles on the forehead. Those all have to be injection molded, and
Yep.
it was explained to me that process is, it's an expensive process.
Yep.
So
as I've learned.
right. So I wanted to throw in a lot of extras so people really feel like, you're getting a lot for this. It is an expensive figure, but you're getting a lot with it. And since I do resin casting, what I would like to offer up afterwards, because I need the pieces to do it, is to offer up like different attachments, like maybe some colored, resin swords, clear resin swords, or glow in the dark swords, or different kinds of stuff like that, and maybe even custom sculpt some things like that.
Yeah, super cool stuff. I mean, if you like this figure before, I don't know why people aren't jumping on now. So
right.
So
Hopefully they will.
Oh, yeah, and hopefully they will. But as far as folks out there listening, if you are interested in picking up a Cronus Magnus, you'll want to head over to Kickstarter and type in Cronus Magnus in the search block, and you'll find it. I'm sure it's the only one that's over there.
Yeah, it's the only Cronus Magnus.
Yep. And so right now, it looks like there's about 15 days left. So when this goes up, it'll be slightly less than that, maybe 14 or 13, depending on iMovie.
Right.
But Eric, I'd like to say thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we'd like to say anytime you want to come back, when we probably have a better guest process.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to come back and talk about anything
I appreciate
going
that.
on in the future.
All right, thank you so much, and it's good to hook up with a fellow Daytonite in the toy scene, both from
there's
Dayton,
not
Ohio.
many of us. I think I'm the only one that's currently here that I know of. And Ben.
Yeah, because I'd heard of Urban Vinyl Daily for a long time, and then I didn't even realize that you're living in Beaver Creek. It's pretty cool.
Yep. So not too far away from where you're at now either.
Yeah, just a couple hours.
Yep. So this will wrap up the episode, though. So I will let everybody know that you can check out your Full Blown Ink on Instagram, right?
Correct. Yeah, Full Blown Ink with a K on Instagram, and the Facebook page for my vinyl stuff is facebook.com/Valkyra, and fullblownink.com. Fullblownink.com is my regular website, which really that all kind of started with like screen printing and stuff, but then I kind of crossed over into this vinyl and resin toy thing, and it's just sort of it's become a catch-all kind of website for my portfolio.
Awesome. So to keep up with UVD, though, you want to check us out on Instagram at Urban Vinyl Daily, or on our site, urbanvinyldaily.com. And you can always find us on our YouTube channel, YouTube/Urban Vinyl Daily. But as always, have a great designer toy day.